Hello, my name is Bob Christie, and I am the Executive Director of the National Institute for Newman Studies in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We focus on the life and work of John Henry Newman because we believe he has much to contribute to matters of great importance in our time. I've been involved in Newman studies for approximately 20 years, having completed my dissertation on a study of his conversion, and I've been studying and writing about him ever since.
Buenas tardes, me complace presentarles a continuación al Dr. Robert Christie, quien nos hablará sobre el National Institute of Newman Studies. Les recuerdo que esta exposición se dictará en inglés. Robert Christie, he received his PhD from Fordham University in Systematic Theology. He did his dissertation under the direction of Avery Cardinal Dulles on the logic of conversation, the harmony of heart, mind, will, and intellect in John Henry Newman. He has published on Newman in the Newman Studies Journal and elsewhere. He has taught theology, religious studies, and philosophy for 25 years. He also holds a master's degree in health science. Actually, he is Executive Director of the National Institute for Newman Studies in Pittsburgh. Welcome.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Gracias. Hola. I only know a very few words in Spanish. I know hola, I know por favor, I know quesadilla. Gracias. And my favorite of all, which is queso fundido. That's all. No more. No more. So I apologize. The rest today will be pretty much in English, but due to the assistance of Ali Maria, I prepared this outline which she distributed to you. One side is English, and the other side Spanish, so that you can follow along in Spanish. I have no idea what it says on this side. I will be following this side. And I did not do this, so don't worry. It shouldn't be too bad. My research assistant, who is fluent in Spanish, I asked her to do it for me. So I give her thanks for that. But I'm so happy to be here in Guadalajara. I was invited by your Professor Maria Rosario Althi, and we know each other for many, many years as members of the Newman Association of America. And Rosario has been to many of our conferences in the US, and at our last one this summer, she said, "We're having a conference in October. Why don't you come and you can tell them about the National Institute for Newman Studies?" And I'm so thankful for the invitation because I had never been here before, and I decided, why not bring my whole family? So everybody came. My wife, my son and daughter. One son lives in California. He has a wife and child, so he has to take care of that. But anyway, the rest of us are all here, and we have fallen in love with Guadalajara and this area. We have been to Laquipaqui. Yes. We have been to the Tres Mujeres distillery. And yesterday we went to Tequila and we took the Jose Cuervos tour. Right? I see thumbs up in the back. Yes? Very good tours. Nice little samples as you go. So I got a good night's sleep. And later today, we're going to Lake Chapala. Right? And we are having the most wonderful time. I am so impressed by your history which goes back so far beyond my country's history. Your architecture is gorgeous. We are enthralled by the aesthetics of your culture. The people are so gracious. You know a big difference we noticed between here and the U.S.? No honk, 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 the car horns. It's very quiet in Guadalajara. In the U.S., honk, 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 all the time. All the time. The people are so pleasant. So we will be back again for sure. Definitely. And I will recommend to my friends, come to Guadalajara. You will definitely like it. All right. It's time to begin. And I have my little device here. The National Institute for Newman Studies. I became the executive director of the Institute in May. Just before that, I taught philosophy and religion for 25 years. I actually retired last September, and I was in my rocking chair. And I loved it. But then the Institute called me up and they said, "We need a director, would you come?" I said, "No, I don't want to come." And they kept calling me back until finally I said, "Okay, I'll come." And I love it. I am doing Newman from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. Newman, Newman, Newman. And I love it. We are about 2,000 miles away. It takes about 6 hours. So not too bad, not too far. Not as far as Europe, right? We're pretty easy to get to. And if all goes well, why Newman is valuable in our time. His life and work present extraordinary responses to the relativism and atheism of our day and justify theism in our time. His work can really help us today with the problems of the mission and nature of the church and the relationship of science and scientific thinking. This is not on there, I'm just adding this. Compared to religious thought. For example, you're probably familiar that scientists like Einstein said, science without religion is lame, religion without science is blind. We need to harmonize them. That is a very Newman-like thought. And Martin Luther King said, science investigates, whereas religion interprets. Science gives us knowledge, which is power, but religion gives us wisdom, which is control. That again is very Newman-like thinking. I think both of those people would find a great value in Newman's thinking, and I think our age can benefit from Newman's thought. For example, and I know you heard a great deal of this in Father Ford's outstanding presentation yesterday, so he beat me to the punch somewhat, but I will just recapitulate in a slightly different format. His analytical methods in demonstrating the fallacies of relativism and atheism, the limitations of reason, and the justifiability of faith and theism. His philosophy of education, his theory of the development of Christian doctrine, his philosophy of mind, his skills as an historian, philosopher, and theologian, his literary achievements in both poetry and the novel, his skills as a rhetorician of the first order. If anyone wants to learn how to argue persuasively, read Newman. an extraordinary body of sermons on a vast array of subjects. His identification of the role of sanctity in human existence, perhaps his most important contribution, because if we adhere to the gospel, if we understand the gospel message, without progress in holiness, all is for naught. Knowledge is for naught if it doesn't somehow contribute to the development of personal holiness. His personal story of conversion as a great example of an intellectual and spiritual journey. The struggles that Newman went through, which are very publicly known from his writings, are very, very instructive for all of us today who struggle with questions of what church, even why the church, which he argued with his own brothers about. Newman is so instructive. And then ultimately, how do you go about coming to a point where you make a commitment? If you want to understand one major soul's journey in that process, read Newman. And finally, he harmonized all this in what I call an overarching aesthetic insight. And I mean aesthetic in a concept of wholeness, not just simplistic beauty. Because aesthetic wholeness includes not only beauty, but truth and goodness. That's the overarching aesthetic, of which beauty is just one element. Of the whole person, and I would say of the whole of human creation, into which the human person has been inserted. So these are all reasons to study Newman in my humble estimation. Now, to tell you how we put this into practice in our facility in Pittsburgh. Just give me a moment while how you say, El Shuffle? Shuffle my papers? This is our facility. This is the Galliot Center for Newman Studies, which houses the National Institute for Newman Studies. It is a brand new facility built due to the graciousness of Catholic philanthropic donors who so believe that Newman can have a major impact on the modern world that they have donated millions of dollars of their own private funds to construct this institute for the focused purpose of promulgating the life and work of John Henry Newman for the modern world. So it's a great example of those who have contributing back to, in a sense, help those who haven't in many ways, especially spiritually. It is a beautiful building, and now I'd like to show you more of it. State-of-the-art, unique facility, which is part library, it's part church-like and part residences, which I will explain to you. Here is our community dining room. We have meetings here. It's large enough. It has a dining room table for 12. This only shows you half of it. The other half was behind our taking the picture. We have small events there. And our scholars, which I will talk to you about in a minute, who come to live with us, they have full reign of this dining room. And if you can see in the very back of the picture, there's actually a doorway there to our kitchen. It is a full kitchen, which is at the disposal of scholars who come and stay with us. It is a very community-oriented facility because we are actually part of the local oratory community. So their spirit imbues everything we do. We have a very oratorian, Newman-like spirit, even in the Institute as part of the oratory.
This is the first floor of our library. We house thousands of Newman works here, contributions from other smaller libraries that wanted to donate them to us. We house them here. So we have a vast array of material for scholars. It's a very beautifully designed building. They left no stone unturned. That's the main floor. This is a view of the second floor, including the beautiful stained glass windows in the rear, which give a very spiritual sense. So that's where the library transitions to a church-like facility. This is another view. Thought it would be. There it is. That's another angle on the same view to give you a better shot of it. Now this is a more distant view to give you a sense of space. This is the second floor level of our library. So as you can see, it is spacious. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in depth in a second about scholars who come to study with us, but I wanted to show you the facilities. This is the office space in the Scholars Suite. We offer scholars a one-bedroom, ultra-modern suite. It has wireless internet throughout the facility, so you can work in the quiet of your own suite, or you can work out in the library. This is the desk area. And as you can see, this is part of a spacious bedroom. The accommodations are really excellent. They are better than you would have at most hotels you would stay at, because they were designed by people who believed in quality. Quality imbues everything our donors wanted to do. And lastly, this is our chapel within the Institute. So this is what gives it a very much church-like ambiance, if you will. And we have services here. The oratorians offer services throughout the week here. So whether you want, whether the intellect or the spirit moves you, you can find a home for it at the National Institute. Now, I'd like to talk to you about our Resident Scholars Program.
We have three major initiatives. One of them is our Resident Scholars Program. We have 8 research programs, and these are in your brochure. If you open your brochure, I didn't want to go through each one because of time, but in it is this insert, which outlines for you all 8 programs that we have available for you, for people exactly like you who want to come and study Newman. We want you to come to us. We will do anything we can to make that possible. Right? Including, and one of the first things I did when I arrived at the Institute in May is I reviewed these programs and I said, they're not wide enough. We need to make them broader to invite more scholars. So we ended up with 7, and I said, that still may not be enough. So I added an 8th, which is the very last one. You could call it Create Your Own Research Program. So if you have an idea that we haven't thought of, you can contact me and say, I have an idea. It wasn't on your list. Could I do this? The answer is probably yes. If you have a good idea, we will support it. So you can look these over at your own leisure. And also in this handout that Ali Maria distributed is much of what I'm talking about in a capsule, short version. Okay. This is for you to take home and look over. Now, we have 2 short-term research programs for both new and experienced Newman scholars, 3 programs for experienced Newman scholars who wish to write about Newman, and 3 additional residencies, which include guest lecturers. You can even come if you have an idea to design a course. You can come and spend time with us, and we will support you while you do that, because we think that would be wonderful if we could help you produce a course and take it back to your institution. We will help you do that. Now, all of these opportunities include the following. You come to us and we give you a suite, no cost, no lodging cost, free housing. It's air conditioned. As I said, Wi-Fi, private bath in your own suite, very much like a nice hotel. And we also provide you with a weekly cost of living stipend of $200, which would be maybe 1,600 pesos. Does that sound right? Yeah, about that? Hey, I'm getting good, yes, getting good. About 1,600 pesos a week for living expenses. And depending upon which program you come in for, we would also give you a research honorarium of anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. That sounds, to me, if I were still teaching, I would jump at this. But, like on the talk shows when they say, and this is not enough, we have more. We have one more thing. We also will assist you with your travel expenses. Travel reimbursement back and forth. You're smiling very much, I see, right? You like it? That sounds good? Ah, good. This is what I'm here for. So, all of this is available from the Institute. Why? Because we want to promote Newman studies throughout the world. We intend to be the primary institution in the world for Newman studies. And believe me, it is my personal mission when I get done that we will be. Okay? But not unless we have cooperation from scholars like you. The way I look at it is, we have the resources. We have funds from our donors. But we need scholars. We don't have the scholars. This is you. So please think about coming to see us. We would love to have you come. Pittsburgh is a very nice town. Shh, don't tell them this. Maybe not as nice as Guadalajara, but it's still a nice town.
Just to show you quickly, I thought you might like to see this. Here are 2 of our past scholars. Father Pedro Benitez from Universidad Pontificia de Mexico. Yes, is he here? Oh!
And that's Chris, yeah, that's right. Abby.
Yes, and Chris Cimarelli.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't know you were going to be in the show today, did you?
No, I didn't know.
Good. How did you like your time with us?
It was splendid. I mean, I'm longing to return.
And you can come back. You can come back.
Oh, thank you.
You're most welcome. We'd love to have you back.
I'd love to, yes.
Here are 2 other scholars and their families. I'd just like to show you their happy faces is a testimony to the good time they were having. Now let me move along. Oops, did I go the wrong way? Our journal.
The Newman Studies Journal. This is our second major initiative. We publish the Newman Studies Journal 2 times a year. And we are looking for quality research on Newman and Newman studies and on ideas that Newman studied. You don't have to necessarily be a Newman expert. For example, in the world of philosophy, there are many major ideas that Newman discussed. So you could get involved in writing about that idea without necessarily being a Newman scholar, right? You could take off on an idea from Newman and then develop it. So we are very interdisciplinary because I know, having studied Newman for many years, that he was extraordinarily interdisciplinary. As you know, if you've read The Idea of a University, no subject can be separated from another subject without damaging knowledge. That's Newman. And that's simply the truth. So about our journal. Oops. My magic wand. Yes, we have just recruited successfully recognized as the #1 Newman scholar in the world, Father Ian Carr. And as you heard Father Ford say yesterday, his biography of Newman is absolutely necessary for anyone who wishes to really grasp Newman. Just about a week and a half ago, I successfully negotiated with Father Carr to come onto our board of editors for the journal. So he may be reviewing your paper one day. He is going to be our new editor-at-large for Newman Studies. And I also would like to say that our own Father John Ford, who was our editor for about 10 years, has graciously agreed to come back to the journal as an editorial consultant to help me. And I'm so thankful for that, as Father Ford and I have been friends for about the past 15 years, and I am always reaching out to him for advice when I have a really sensitive issue that I need some feedback on, and he has not failed me. So Father Ford may also be reading your paper one day. This is just a list of our senior journal editors that I wanted to show you quickly. I've just mentioned Father Ford, Father Keith Beaumont, who was recommended by Father Ford as the biography to read. He is a member of our board of editors. Monsignor Richard Liddy from Seton Hall University, who was a member of the original petition for the cause of Newman when it began many years ago. He was one of the investigators. Terence Merrigan from the University of Leuven, whom many of you may know. Father Thomas Norris, John Crosby, Mary Catherine Tillman, the author Edward Short, Edward Miller. These are, I think that I have another page. No, maybe not. But as you can see, and this is only a partial list of our editorial board, but these are certainly our most senior and distinguished editors. So we intend to become the best possible journal on Newman studies out there. But again, we need your articles. Without your articles, there is no journal. The editor and the editorial board, what can we do without articles? So please, think about contributing to us. We are always looking for good material. So if you have something you've worked on, we are working on our spring issue right now. I would love to receive it. Topics we've covered. John Henry Newman, A Saint for Our Time. These have all been articles in recent journal issues. Newman, Scripture, Miracles, and the Role of Witness. Newman and the Voice of the Laity. Hopkins and Newman on Poetry. Newman and Conversion Through Liturgy. Newman's Epic Mediterranean Journey. Newman, Doctor of Conscience. Where have I gone? Have I gone past this? Yes, okay. Newman's Epic Mediterranean Journey. Newman, Doctor of Conscience, and the last page of this, Newman's Idea of a University, the role of theology in Newman's University, Newman on the relationship between theology and science, Newman's vision of the Catholic medical school, and Newman's notion of the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. These are all articles that we've published, and it's only a small portion. Just to fill you in, we have hosted more than 50 resident scholars from more than, I believe it's more than 15 countries. So we are truly internationalized in that respect. We've published, I think it's upwards of 125, maybe 150 different authors in our journal. So we are very aggressive on getting Newman studies out to the world, and we very much would like you to be part of that. Now, our last major initiative is our digitization program. We're in the process of a 4-year, $1 million program to digitize the entire Birmingham archive of Newman paper documents. It's taking us 4 years and over, probably will be close to $2 million when we're done. It's very, very expensive. At that point, all of the material will be able to be made available to Newman scholars around the world at the click of a keyboard. It will all be online. The only one thing we have to do after that, though, is after we get it all digitized, that's like making a lot of Xerox copies, right? Only in a much bigger way. Then it all has to be cataloged. So we will have literally millions of images on camera that then have to be put in a library type format online. That is going to take us about 7 years to catalog those millions of images. But as we get them cataloged, they will be rolled out to Newman scholars publicly. There we go. I think I've covered that. Now, we have an affiliation legally with Duquesne University, which is the Catholic university in our city of Pittsburgh. We have from another one of our donors an endowed chair in Newman Studies at that university. And we are mutually involved in each other's activities. Their faculty contribute to what we're doing, and we go there and bring, for example, I think I meant, did I mention to you our Newman Fest? No, I may not. This is something I would like to invite you all to. Next summer, we are having our annual conference co-sponsored by the National Institute and the NAA in affiliation with Duquesne University, July 28th to 30th. It will be at Duquesne University, and we're keeping the costs down to it will be under $300 for everything at the conference. Lodging, meals, conference costs. Just get yourself there, and you only need, what's that, about 2,000 pesos or so. Yes? Okay. And here is a description of the conference. I'll let you read that, but the theme is Newman, Tradition and Innovation, Witness in the Contemporary World. Certainly, that's a very topical issue given all of the controversy about did Vatican II go too far? Did it not go far enough? Right? What does tradition mean in terms of change? Right? Those are all questions that we look to deal with this summer. So we think you would enjoy that. If you are interested, you can send an abstract to our program chair, Monsignor Jerry McCarran, and his address is down the bottom there. And if there's any material that you don't have when you leave today and you're interested in it, just email me and at the National Institute, and I'll get it to you pronto. Is that right? That's good. But we'd love to have you come up for the conference. We would also give you a tour of the Institute. You can actually see in person what I've showed you and help you make further decisions about coming. Spend some time with us. So, let me try this. And it's okay if you laugh. It's going to be my feeble attempt, right? Por favor, veni a visitarnos. Venga para una estancia de estudio. Publicar nuestro artículo con nosotros. Venid a nuestra conferencia. Muchas gracias.